the global Sumud Flotilla set sail to break the blockade of Gaza and deliver urgent humanitarian aid. Named for the Arabic word meaning steadfastness, the mission was both a lifeline and a statement of solidarity. Over 40 boats carried 500 participants from 44 countries. Parliamentarians, doctors, journalists, and activists. Notable figures like Greta Thunberg and Mandela joined, amplifying the mission's global profile. The cargo desperately needed medicine and food for Gaza's children, chosen to address the most critical shortages. Organisers argued official aid channels were too slow, insisting direct delivery was essential to bypass political obstacles. The mission unfolded against the backdrop of a devastating humanitarian crisis in Gaza, with tens of thousands killed and the health system in collapse. For the flotilla's organisers, this was a moral imperative, a direct response to what they called a collective failure by the international community. Their journey was a challenge to the blockade and a call for urgent action. On October 1st, the Israeli Navy intercepted the flotilla in international waters, far from Gaza's coast. Activists reported aggressive tactics, communications jammed, water cannons fired, and boats disabled. Israel claimed the operation was a lawful security measure, warning the flotilla it was entering a combat zone. Officials insisted the blockade is legal and necessary to prevent weapons from reaching militants. The Israeli government dismissed the mission as a provocative stunt, not a humanitarian effort. Activists countered, calling the raid illegal and their mission peaceful, with no weapons on board. Videos released before communications were cut showed activists insisting on their right to deliver aid. Israeli forces commandeered most vessels, detaining participants, including Greta Thunberg, and transferring them to Ashdod for processing. Detainees face deportation, a now standard response to such flotilla missions. The interception sparked immediate global outrage. Colombia expelled Israeli diplomats and ended its free trade agreement, setting a precedent for others. Turkey called the raid an act of terror and launched an investigation into its detained citizens. South Africa's president demanded the release of all participants, especially Mandela. Malaysia, Spain, Ireland, Belgium, and even France condemned Israel's actions and called for the activists' release. Human rights groups like Amnesty International accused Israel of violating international law and defying court orders for unhindered aid to Gaza. Amnesty called the raid part of a broader policy of starving Gazans through the blockade. The chorus of condemnation grew, demanding not just the release of detainees, but an end to the blockade itself. The flotilla's fate became a flashpoint in the global debate over Gaza. The flotilla's interception became a symbol of the struggle over Gaza, humanitarian aid, freedom of navigation, and protest. Supporters saw the mission as heroic civil disobedience. Critics called it a political provocation. The event deepened global divisions, with protests erupting from Istanbul to Buenos Aires, and trade unions striking in solidarity. Diplomatic pressure mounted, forcing the Gaza blockade into the international spotlight. The presence of figures like Greta Thunberg and Mandela ensured the story stayed in the headlines. The world watched to see if outrage would lead to real change, or fade as activists were deported. The flotilla's journey tested the resolve of world leaders and the international community. Its legacy, a renewed call for action and hope for Gaza's future.